A poor farmer helped a city girl with her car and was shocked to learn that she was the daughter of a millionaire. Sometimes fate can change from one simple decision: to stop and help a stranger on the road. This is a story about a farmer on the verge of ruin who met a girl in an expensive dress near a broken car and had no idea that she was the heiress to a billion-dollar empire. About love that knows no boundaries between wealth and poverty, and about how real values are not sold in stores, but are in the human heart. Before we begin the story, write in the comments what part of the world you are watching from today. Dale Crawford wiped the sweat from his forehead with the back of his hand and cursed once again, looking at the old tractor. The engine had been acting up for the third day in a row, and there was no time for repairs. The corn harvest had to be collected before the first frost. Every lost day meant lost money, and he didn't have any lost money anyway. 38 years old, the fourth generation of farmers in the family and the first who could lose the ancestral land. The letter from the bank had been sitting on the kitchen table for a week. A demand to pay off a $250,000 debt by the end of the month or the farm would go under the hammer. "Come on, old man," he muttered, turning the key in the ignition. "Don't let me down now." The engine sneezed, coughed, and died. Daniel slammed his fist on the steering wheel. This year's drought had destroyed half the crop. Grain prices had fallen to a decade low, and the bank was demanding money that simply wasn't there. He climbed off the tractor and opened the hood. Maybe it was the spark plugs or the fuel filter. In any case, he'd have to go to town for parts, and that would require money, which again he didn't have. At that moment, a car drove down the road. Darling, judging by the sound of the engine, Daniel didn't even look up. Rich tourists sometimes drove through their area, admiring the authentic rural America, but they had no dealings with the locals. And it was for the best. He wasn't in the mood to smile at strangers. But a few minutes later, the car returned and stopped at the side of the road. The engine was running rough, jerky, and then completely stalled. A young woman of about 18 years old got out of the car. She was wearing a smart blue dress and heels. Certainly not the most appropriate footwear for a dirt road in Kansas. She popped the hood of her car, a silver sedan that cost more than Daniel made in a year, and stood helplessly next to it, holding her cell phone. Quote, "Of course," she muttered, holding the phone above her head. "There wasn't even a signal here." Daniel watched her from under the hood of the tractor. His first impulse was to stay out of it. He had enough problems of his own, and helping rich people who didn't even know how to open a hood wasn't part of his plans. But something stopped him. Maybe it was his mother's voice, the one who always said, "Dan, a man's worth isn't determined by what he has, but by whether he's willing to help his neighbor in need." Or maybe it was just an innate decency that didn't allow him to pass by someone else's misfortune. He wiped his hands on his work overalls, picked up his toolbox, and headed for the road. Quote, "Problems with the car?" he asked, coming closer. The woman turned around, and Daniel got his first good look at her face. Beautiful, but not the artificial beauty that expensive salons give. She had lively Korean eyes, a natural blush on her cheeks and a slight confusion in her gaze. Quote, "Oh, thank God," she sighed with relief. "Yeah, the car stalled in the middle of the road. I have absolutely no idea what's wrong with it. Let me take a look." Daniel nodded at the open hood. "Sure, please. I'm Sophia, by the way, Sophia Montgomery." Daniel Crawford, he introduced himself, leaning over the engine. The problem was simple. The contact on the battery had come loose, a 2-minute job for a person who knows how to handle technology. Quote, "Try it now," he said, closing the hood. Sophia got behind the wheel and turned the key. The engine started on the first try, running smoothly and quietly. Quote, "Unbelievable," she exclaimed, getting out of the car. "How did you do that?" "I just tightened the contact," Daniel shrugged. "Nothing complicated." Sophia reached into her purse. "How much do I owe you?" "I don't owe you anything." Daniel shook his head. "Sometimes people help for no reason." "But you spent time, used tools. 5 minutes and a screwdriver. I don't think it's worth the money." Sophia looked at him in surprise. You don't look like the kind of people I usually date. What kind of people do you usually date? The kind who first ask how much they're going to get paid and then ask what the problem is. Daniel chuckled. Maybe you're dating the wrong people? Maybe. Sophia looked at him carefully. And you're a farmer, the fourth generation, Daniel answered proudly. Although, perhaps, the last. Why the last? He regretted saying it. Why burden a stranger with your problems? Quote, These are hard times for farming, he answered evasively. Well, it's time for you to move on. Where are you headed? Vance's city, for a business meeting. Sophia paused. You know what? I don't feel like rushing. Could you show me around your farm? I've never seen how real farmers live. Dale was surprised. Usually city dwellers tried to leave the wilderness as quickly as possible, and this girl asked for a tour. Quote, I don't think you'll be interested, he said. An ordinary farm, nothing special. I'm interested, Sophia insisted. Honestly, I grew up in a city where people buy milk in stores and don't think about where it comes from. Okay, Daniel agreed, but I warn you, it's dirty, noisy and smells of manure. I can handle it, Sophia smiled. They reached the farmyard. Daniel showed her the cowshed, the pigsty, the barn with grain. Sophia asked many questions, rudely, but with sincere interest. How do they feed the animals? When do farmers get up? How much milk does a cow give? Why do chickens lay eggs of different sizes? Quote, Where is your family? She asked when they were sitting on the veranda of the old house. No wife, Daniel answered briefly. She was, but she couldn't stand the farm life. She ran away to the city 3 years ago. No children. I'm sorry. It's not worth it. It's better to get to know a person before marriage than after. Have you ever thought about moving to the city, to find an easier job? Daniel looked at the fields that stretched to the horizon. This is the land of my great-grandfather, father. My mother is buried here. How can I leave this? But if it's hard, he agreed, especially lately. But this is my home, you see, my life. Sophia nodded, and he saw understanding in her eyes. Quote, And you? Daniel asked, doing something in the big city? I work in the family business, Sophia answered evasively. Nothing interesting. Everyone has their own concerns, Daniel noted philosophically. They sat on the veranda until sunset, talking about life, dreams, plans. Sophia turned out to be an intelligent conversationalist, an attentive listener. Daniel had not met a person with whom it was so easy to talk for a long time. Quote, I have to go, Sophia said when the sun touched the horizon. Thank you for the tour and for helping with the car. Please, have a safe trip. Daniel, Sophia hesitated by the car. Can I come again sometime? I liked it here. Of course, he was surprised. But why? It's boring here. Not boring, Sophia objected. This is real life. She drove away, and Daniel stood on the road for a long time, looking after the red parking lights. Something had changed that day, but he couldn't figure out what. A week later, Sophia was back. Daniel was mending a fence in the pasture. When he heard the familiar sound of an engine, he straightened up and saw a silver sedan slowly approaching up the dirt road. Quote, Hi, Sophia said, getting out of the car. This time she was dressed more practically. Jeans, a simple white blouse, comfortable sneakers. Am I disturbing you? Of course not. Daniel put down the hammer. What brought you back to our wilderness? I wanted to see how the tractor was doing. Sophia nodded at the farm equipment. Last time you said it was acting up. It's still acting up, Daniel sighed. You need parts, but you don't have the money for them. What if I help you with the money? No, he answered sharply. Thank you. But no, I don't borrow money from strangers. But we're not strangers. We've known each other for a week. Sophia, you are very kind, but I have principles. She did not insist, but Daniel saw the disappointment in her eyes. Then at least let me help with the work, she suggested. I can hand over the tools and hold the boards. In these shoes. Daniel looked at her shoes. I have rubber boots in the car, Sophia admitted. Quote, I got ready this time. They worked until lunch. Sophia turned out to be a good helper, attentive, diligent, not afraid of dirt. When Daniel suggested a break, she helped prepare a simple lunch from what was in the refrigerator. "Do you cook?" He was surprised, watching how deftly she cut vegetables. "I studied," Sophia answered. "I lived alone in college. I had to learn the intricacies of the kitchen, and now I don't get to cook very often myself." Over lunch they got to talking. Sophia told me about her childhood. A big house, private schools, governesses instead of friends. Daniel about farm life, where children help their parents from an early age, where everyone knows their neighbors for miles around. "Sounds idyllic," said Sophia. "Not always," Daniel objected. Quote, "It can be very lonely, especially when the young people leave for the cities and the old people die. You are left alone with the land and the cows. Don't you miss people?" "I do, especially intelligent conversationalists." He looked at her as you are. Sophia blushed from the compliment. After lunch, she helped him feed the animals. The cows did not scare her, but the chickens made her squeal with delight. Quote, "They're so funny," she laughed, watching the chickens run after the hen on the grid. "Like yellow lumps." "Wait until spring," Daniel chuckled. "Then there will be 200 of them." "It can't be." "Maybe, farming is a constant production. Milk, eggs, meat, grain. People need all this every day." By evening, Sophia was getting ready to leave. Quote, "Thank you for the day," she said. "I haven't felt so useful in a long time." "Thank you. It's much harder to do all this alone. Can I come again?" "Of course, but I don't understand what keeps you here. Is it really so interesting to watch me mend fences?" "It's interesting to watch an honest person live," Sophia answered seriously. The following week she came again, then again and again. Gradually, these visits became regular. Every weekend, Sophia showed up at the farm, helped with the work, cooked dinner, and just talked. Daniel got used to her presence. Moreover, he began to look forward to her arrival. With Sophia, the farm didn't seem so lonely. She knew how to listen, gave good advice, and most importantly, she didn't feel sorry for him or look down on him. "Where do you usually spend your weekends?" he asked once. "Before meeting me." "Mostly at home," Sophia answered evasively, "or at some social events." "It's boring." "Does your family mind your trips to the village?" "The family doesn't always know where I spend my time," she answered cautiously. Daniel noticed that Sophia avoided talking about her work, family, life in the city, but he did not insist. Everyone has the right to secrets. After a month of regular meetings, a trusting relationship was established between them. Sophia learned to give cows, bake bread, drive a tractor. Daniel told her about her problems, plans, dreams. "You know what's strange?" he said one evening when they were sitting on the veranda. "With you, I feel like myself, an unsuccessful farmer, not a loser who is losing the family business, just a person." Quote, "The same thing is happening to me," Sophia admitted. "For the first time in many years, I don't think about what others will say about me. I just live." "And what do others usually say about you?" Quote, Sophia was silent. "Various things, mostly related to my family. Your parents are against our meetings. They don't know about them," Sophia answered honestly. "And it's better not to know yet." "Why?" "Because they won't understand." Daniel felt that there was something important hidden in this answer, but he didn't ask. Everyone has family difficulties. By the end of the second month, he realized that he had fallen in love. Sophia had become a part of his life. He planned his work so that he could do everything before she arrived, bought her favorite cookies, renovated the guest room, where she sometimes stayed overnight. But he didn't dare confess his feelings. The difference between them was too great. He saw it in her car, clothes, manners. Sophia clearly came from a wealthy family, and he was a simple farmer on the verge of bankruptcy. The truth was revealed by chance. Sophia was helping Daniel in the shed as usual when her phone rang. She excused herself and walked away, but spoke loudly enough for him to hear. "No, Dad, I can't come back right now. Yes, I understand that the board of directors is waiting. No, this is not a whim. This is important to me. Okay, I'll be there tomorrow." Daniel didn't attach much importance to the conversation until he heard the last phrase. Dad, please don't send security after me. I'm a grown woman and I decide for myself where to spend my time. Security? What kind of security can an ordinary office worker have? That evening, when they were sitting at dinner, Daniel decided to ask, Sophia, what exactly does your family do? She froze with her fork halfway to her mouth. Why do you ask? I'm just curious. We haven't had a proper conversation about your work in 2 months. Quote, Sophia put her fork down and was silent for a long time. Daniel, she finally said, if I tell you the truth, you'll look at me differently. What's so terrible about the truth? My father is Richard Mangamery. He owns Mangamery Technology. Quote. Daniel dropped his fork. Mangamery Technologies is one of the world's largest IT giants. He saw the company's logo on every other device. You, the daughter of a billionaire? He exhaled. The billionaire number 17 on the Forbes list, Sophia clarified bitterly. Now you'll look at me differently. Daniel really did look differently. It was hard to wrap his head around. The girl who helped him mend fences and milk cows for 2 months was one of the richest heiresses in the world. Why didn't you tell me right away? What would have changed? Asked Sophia sadly. Would you have treated me like a crystal doll? Or, on the contrary, would you have decided that I came to have fun, playing at the simple life? I don't know, answered Daniel honestly. Probably, something would have changed. That's why I kept silent. For the first time in my life, I met a man who sees me as just Sophia. Not the daughter of a magnate, not the heiress of an empire, not a way to get rich, just a woman. Daniel got up from the table and walked around the kitchen. Thoughts, feelings, and questions were all mixed up in his head. So, all these 2 months you were playing at the simple life? He asked. No, Sophia hotly objected. I didn't play. Here with you, I was more real than ever in my life. And what then? A social experiment, studying the life of ordinary people. Sophia got up and went up to him. I fell in love with you and your life and who I am becoming next to you. These words stopped his thoughts. Sophia confessed her love, and he stood there and thought about money. Quote, I love you too, he said quietly. But now everything is different. What is different? Sophia, you are the heiress to $1 billion empire. You have mansions, yachts, planes, and I am a farmer on the verge of bankruptcy, who in a month may lose this last house. So what? What and what? We are from different worlds. We cannot have a future. Sophia sat down on a chair and covered her face with her hands. Period. I was so afraid of this conversation. I knew that money would ruin everything. Money does not ruin. It just shows reality. And the reality is that I cannot love a man who is poorer than me. The reality is that I cannot be a woman who is 1,000 times richer than me, Daniel said firmly. What can I give to the daughter of a billionaire? Life in debt, hard work from dawn to dusk, uncertainty about tomorrow, love, Sophia answered simply. Honesty is real feeling. It is not enough for a normal life. For me it is enough. They were silent for a long time. Dusk was falling outside, it was getting dark in the house, but no one turned on the light. Quote, what will happen now? Sophia asked finally. I don't know, Daniel answered honestly. I need time to think, to reconsider all this. And can I come? Of course, you are always a welcome guest in my house. But they both understood that something had changed irrevocably. The secret that Sophia had kept for 2 months had finally come out, and now there was an invisible wall of zeros on the bank account between them. The 2 weeks after the revelation passed in a strange atmosphere. Sophia continued to come, but now there was tension between them. Daniel was polite, but reserved. He no longer talked about his problems, did not share his plans, and Sophia did not dare to be as open as before. Everything changed the day the letter from the bank arrived. Daniel read it on the porch, and Sophia saw how the expression on his face changed, from tension to despair. Quote, what happened? She asked. Final notice. Daniel handed her the document. I have until the 15th to pay off the debt in full or the farm will go to auction. Sophia read the letter. The amount of the debt was $250,000. For her, this was pocket money, but for Daniel, the collapse of his entire life. How much time do you have? 10 days. And the money? About 15,000 in the account. The rest only if I sell all the cattle and equipment. But then the farm will die completely. Sophia was silent, clearly thinking about something. Danny, she said finally, let me help. No, but why? It's just money for you. It's just that there is no Danny for me. I'm not offering you a handout. It could be an investment or a loan with interest. Sophia, I don't want to take money from the woman I love, especially if that woman is a million times richer than me. But you'll lose the farm. I will, Daniel agreed. But I'll keep my self-respect. And what will you do without the farm? I don't know. I'll look for a job in the city. I'll be a driver, a security guard, a loader. Anything, just not to live on your money. Sophia jumped up from her chair. You're a stubborn fool, ready to lose the work of your life because of pride. And are you ready to buy me love? Daniel answered sharply. I'm not buying. I want to help the man I love. Help or buy myself a farmer, like buying an exotic animal for a zoo. These words were cruel, and Daniel immediately regretted them. Sophia turned pale, as if he had hit her. Do you really think so? Quote, she asked quietly. No, Daniel sighed. I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. What did you mean? That there's too much of a difference between us in money, in status, in opportunities. I don't want to be a supported husband, and I don't want to be a woman who can't help her loved one because of money. They looked at each other, and that look contained everything. Love, pain, misunderstanding, despair. Sophia, Daniel said quietly. Even if you help with the debt, what next? The farm brings in little money, just enough to live on. I won't be able to provide you with what you're used to. And I don't want what I'm used to, Sophia exclaimed. I want this, she waved her hand, pointing to the fields, the house, the yard. I want to wake up at dawn, work in the garden, bake bread, give cows. I want a real life. You don't know what a real life without money is. When you save on everything, when you're afraid of getting sick because you can't afford treatment, when you wear the same jacket for 5 years and you're glad it's still in good condition, then teach me. Sophia, Danny, I'm serious. I want to stay here with you forever. What about your family, business, commitments? My father has other heirs, cousins who are just waiting for the moment to take my place. Let them. Are you ready to give up billions for the sake of living with a poor farmer? I am. If this farmer is ready to accept me as I am, with all my money and problems. Daniel was silent for a long time. Feelings and reason, love and pride fought in his head. What if in a year you realize that the romance of rural life is one thing, and reality is something completely different? What will you do when you get tired of getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning? When you get tired of washing dirty work clothes? When you want to go to the theater, a restaurant, a resort? I don't know, Sophia answered honestly, but I know that now I want nothing more than to be next to you. And I know that I love you more than my own pride, Daniel finally said, and am ready to take a risk. So you agree? Accept my help. I will, but on what terms? It will be a loan with interest to be repaid within 10 years. And no gifts, no charity. I agree. And if you decide to return to your previous life, no reproaches from me. And if I don't decide, then we will live like an ordinary family, on what we earn with our labor. Sophia came up to him and took his hands. Danny, I want to be your wife not temporarily, not as an experiment, but forever. And I want you to be my wife, he answered, despite all the differences between us. Then everything is decided? Almost. All that remains is to save the farm and explain to your father why his daughter, a billionaire, is marrying a bankrupt farmer. We can handle the farm, but with your father it will be more difficult. 6 months have passed since the day Sophia made her choice. The debt was repaid, the farm was saved. Instead of silk dresses, work jeans. Instead of a manicure, calluses on her palms. Instead of social events, evenings on the veranda. Do you regret it? Daniel asked. About what? Sophia looked at the sunset over the fields. The first 30 years I was in a golden cage. People were friends because of money, Men courted because of an inheritance. Now for the first time I know who I am without my father's last name. During these months, Sophia learned to grow vegetables, make preserves, sew clothes. Her hands became rough, but Daniel considered her more beautiful than ever. In the spring, there was a crisis. The cows got sick. They spent all their savings on